Hello and welcome to Inspire Me Forward. My name is Lynda Watson, and I'm the founder and host of this sacred circle. We're now venturing into season 5, and this season we are going down the rabbit hole. Have you ever had those conversations without direction and with no goal in mind, yet you always seem to get exactly where you need to be? On a world of linear conversations tied to expectations and judgments, I find those conversations refreshing and rejuvenating. I call them soul conversations, where my heart and soul is speaking with another's heart and soul. The magic I find in that space is profound and always heart expanding. So, let's head down the rabbit hole of today's episode and look for what we don't know and learn what we never imagined.
All right. So today's episode, which is episode number 35, is entitled There Is No How. And I would like to welcome my guest, Pat Hutchinson of Glencoe, Ontario, Canada, to be here with us today and help us or be with us as we go down the rabbit hole. So I'll give you a moment just to say hello, Pat.
Thank you. And thank you, Lynda, for inviting me to this conversation. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes. And thank you to everybody that's here listening. And one thing I would ask that keep an open mind, please. Whatever I say is coming from my own experiences, from my thoughts and my belief system, which may be totally contrary to yours. They are totally contrary to what mine were. So one thing that hasn't changed, and I don't anticipate it will ever change, is a foundational piece for me, which is first, do no harm. That is very, very important to me. So thank you. And let's see where we go.
Oh, that's a great start. I love that. That all perspectives, because the more perspectives we can have, the more empathy we can have.
Absolutely.
That's always been my perspective bank.
Yes.
And how many perspectives? I don't have to agree with them all, but I have them there, and they're there to draw on when I need to. So
yeah.
That. Thank you for prefacing that and starting us off with that. So before we get down the rabbit hole, I'd like to. So I have a list of questions. I have 20 questions, and I ask each guest to choose a number between 1 and 20 before a day or so before we come on air. And I ask them the question, give them a little time to think about it. They have absolutely anytime guest has a choice to pass and choose another question. And today, Pat chose number 7. And that is, would you share with us a time in your life of joy?
I will. This was really difficult when I was thinking about it, because obviously I've been around for 74 years. I've had a lot of joys. Thank goodness. I think for today, though, I'd like to share what has been on my heart a lot lately, and that is my great joy, Bud. And Bud was a total and complete surprise. Such a gift in my life. Is a beautiful soul. He was in an Appaloosa body, and he was with me for just about 10 years. And when he arrived, my entire paradigm shifted. I had never grown up with pets. No pets at all until I was married. And then we had dogs, which are lovely. I love dogs. But a horse, whole different ball game. At least Bud, a whole different ball game. He taught me so much about boundaries, soul melting, which is a term that I just made up. Unconditional love of self, of others. He taught me how to live peacefully and in the moment. And it was actually quite amazing when he arrived. I've seen it as divinely inspired, actually. He arrived 2 weeks after an incredibly painful situation arose in our lives, and he left 1 month after it was resolved. He brought such a profound joy, and he kept me from going to a very, very dark place, which I had been to in my previous experience. And I did not go there again because of him. I mean, I know that because of what he was teaching me. Since he's been gone, I have realized the time and the energy that went into the relationship with him and with the other horses that were on the 3 farms that he was boarded at over the years. And now I'm just waiting to see, I'm waiting to see what I'm guided to do with the rest of my life. If I've learned anything, it's that I will be guided. I just need to stay present. Right now, there is absolutely no how to do that. I haven't got a flipping clue, other than to wait patiently, to listen, hear, accept it, and act. And Bud taught me that too. I must only stay open to the signs and be present for that, whatever that is. That is my joy, my greatest joy at this time.
There's so much right there. Like, we could take this hour and just dissect and deconstruct or delve into everything you just said. And if people bear with me for a minute, I think we should, just for a moment, because you've said so much. And I had the joy of knowing and photographing Bud, and he was and is a gentle soul.
Yes.
The true meaning of gentleness.
Yeah.
Is to me that and to have that in photographs and see it in his eyes, and just I mean, there's nothing like looking in a horse's eyes.
Oh, wow.
And finding that gaze. The word for me is gaze, and he was just that epitome of gentle. How we should act, how he acted. It was just this gentle, not I mean, he set his boundaries, as you said, and he was clear.
Yes.
But there was this gentle.
And when he was, I noticed it learned it, saw it, particularly with his teaching me boundaries. Mm-hmm. Because he was still gentle, but he could nip you, but it was bang, and then gone. Like, there was no emotion in it, like you get with people, lots of times. And there was no lingering yuckiness, for lack of a better word.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, residue.
Yes, exactly. It wasn't sticky. It was clear. He could have been a lot rougher.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
I love that.
But yes, he was and is a gentle soul, and he makes his presence known gently now.
Yes, of course. So let's start. How would you define joy? What would you, if you had to put a definition to?
Oh, joy is, to me, is something that makes my heart sing. It makes my soul sing. It's happy is transitory.
Okay.
Joy is a deep, I don't know what the word is. It's a soul feeling. It lights me up. Like, I can have joy when I look at my grandchildren, for instance. It's just something that is a part of me. It's a feeling that is sparked. It's there all the time, but it's sparked by something exterior. It's like seeing, like experiencing, like. And it's that soul melding that I felt, that I feel still, and do with some people as well. It's when the two become one, that's joy.
I'm just taking that in. Just giving us a minute to take that one in.
Sometimes it's very difficult to articulate my thoughts.
Oh, but it is because they're so intrinsic that sometimes I find it's hard to take the intrinsic that's deep, that touches the soul, and turn it into something that we can share in words.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easier sometimes to share it in a quiet moment.
Yes.
And just to be with somebody and share the silence.
Yes.
Of joy, of soul melding, of unconditional love. It's easier to share it in the silence. To
Absolutely.
take it and articulate it in verbally is probably the hardest thing of all.
It is, because you're limiting it, I think. And when you're not verbalizing and you are just in it, you're experiencing it, and your left brain is at rest.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're just there in that joy.
And pure presence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You said something that you now had the tools to sort of keep you from the dark places. Can we go down a bit of that hole? Just, I mean, how and what? Like what? I'm not asking what the dark places were, but what are some of the tools that?
Yeah. For me, the tools are first the quiet. First the recognition. Oh, I know this feeling. I know this thing that's coming over me. Go away. And it's, even though I can't verbalize what that intense feeling is, I know it. And I do tell it, go away. And then I'll sit and I will deep breathe and I will focus on my breath. That's the first thing I do. And I'll focus on what I'm experiencing in that. I guess it's a short meditation that I do. And that connects me with a power greater than me. With that oneness, with that all that is, which I have come to know.
Do you then find that a dark feeling, dark place, dissipates, or is it accepted as love? Is it like, what happens to it?
It dissipates. It's there. But as long as I stay in the other mindset, which doesn't take very long, and I find now when that happens, and I don't tend to go that dark anymore. But if there's a negativity that I'm feeling, or just that stickiness, and I can get to that place of quiet, it's just like walking into a room and turning a light bulb on.
Yeah.
And the darkness dissipates. It goes away.
Yeah.
It just goes away. I mean, it's there and then it's not.
Was there a lesson in it? Was there a message in it sometimes?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that message is still there when you turn the light on.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And it's the message of, for me, 9 times out of 10, it's the, okay, I'm still human. Perfection is not in this world. It's something to strive for, and recognize sooner and sooner and sooner and sooner when I'm getting away from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can feel this thing, this darkness just pow. And I go, whew, wait. And what I realize now, it's wonderful because, years ago I could do that, but I would still stay in that feeling, the stickiness again. Whereas now, once I recognize it and go quiet and get into this other place, those emotions that I was feeling aren't there. And I can look at the situation, if sometimes I can recognize what it was that caused this. And I think, I thought I had worked on that. I thought that was done. Duh. And again, it just makes me realize, well, obviously I'm not finished because I'm still here working on this, albeit differently than I used to. Yeah. And it happens quicker, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it reminds me of working lately on, listening to my heart voice and recognizing my ego voice.
Yes.
And when the ego voice comes up more, it's exhausting.
Yes.
It's physically exhausting. And I wonder why I'm tired maybe the next day.
Yeah.
And I do the same as I sit back, get still, I recognize, I go to the breath and just step out of it. Yeah. And I realize, that ego voice took over and told you to just go, 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 and got all up in the head and it physically exhausting. And therefore that asking those questions of myself and asking that ego voice, turning the light on, as you say,
yes,
it's better for the body.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's wonderful when I can recognize that exhaustion coming over me and I can't figure out why I'm tired. I haven't done anything that should make me tired. Why am I feeling exhausted? Oh, duh. Why don't you just sit and get quiet and go to the place where all those answers are? And maybe, just maybe, I can get quiet enough that the answer will come.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I know, that's my how-to for today.
Okay. Message for the day. Done.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, wow. Well, there's a lot right there. Probably 8 minutes in. So thank you for answering that question. And I hope others that are listening, take some time to maybe think of it themselves and, share, thinking of a time of great joy for themselves. So one thing we aren't,
sorry. Too often, I think we don't sit and think of the great joys. We sit and think of the great sorrows.
Exactly. Yeah. One's got to be higher than the other.
Yes.
Got to be more. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So one thing we're not doing or trying not to do in this season is to not label and not ask for labels. So instead of asking folks what they've done, we're asking people what's in their heart and that you would like to share at the moment. Which is sometimes hard because we really want to go to the labels and I did this and I did that and this is who I am. And to step back from those labels, I heard recently somebody say, take a break from asking people, what do you do? Really hard to do when we've grown up in a society that is the first question hi, this is my name. What do you do? That's a first question. So how do we step away from those labels and just share what's in our heart? So I will give you the floor now to share whatever is in your heart that would like to be spoken.
Wow. Well, the know-how.
Can we hold that one? Because that's going to be our next down the rabbit hole.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes. What do I want to share? Well, perhaps a different. this is going to my left brain, which is difficult for me because I don't tend to consciously articulate my beliefs. Like, who really wants to hear them, particularly when they may be a little far out for people. But I'm going to. I, for a long time now, have thought about our purpose, my purpose for being on the planet. Why am I here? What is this all about? And I mean, I know that, well, probably most people, at least my age, have given that a thought or two. And I have come to the conclusion, when I look at life, the world, the earth, that there are so many, like 8 billion different paths, 8 billion different perspectives on everything. And earlier in life, the ego wanted to be in control. That didn't work out so well. Now, I have come to understand and hold the belief currently, who knows if it would change, I'm not done yet, that we are all on our soul path. So as a soul, prior to coming here, we choose what we want or need to experience or learn on this sojourn on earth. So our soul makes that decision, and we are born into the perfect circumstances that will present us with the opportunity to do exactly what we chose to do. We don't choose this consciously from our personality once we're here. God help us if we did, with some of the experiences that we all had. And I know the first response usually from people is, I wouldn't choose this. You know, I'm not crazy. No, but that's the personality. The soul underneath it knows exactly what we need in order to grow. So once we've completed that task or learning, whatever it was our soul decided, then we leave. And I mean, I'm quite sure that Bud, for instance, came to assist me in my journey before I went totally to a dark place. The timing of his coming and going was just blew my mind when I thought about it. Mm-hmm. I think everything else that he taught me was kind of side benefit for me. It was just who he is. So I believe that our aim, my aim, I should only speak for myself, is to evolve into the full knowledge and potential to be who I really am. And that to me is comprehension of the fact that we are one with Source. As we achieve our growth, our soul growth, which of course never ends, we bring those gifts, those learnings, those knowings back into our everyday life. And in this way, this is what helps to evolve humanity. And I think animals do it as well. And who knows, maybe plants. I haven't really thought about plants. Mm-hmm. But animals, I think for sure that's what I'm getting from them. That's what I'm learning from them. Mm-hmm. And from this perspective, we're all really, I like to think of it as one huge crystal that doesn't have any edge. There's no boundary to this crystal. And each living thing is a facet of the crystal. And each of those facets is a fractal of the source. So read this, as I said, keep an open mind.
No, this is a place to share these. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and I mean, as a fractal of that whole, we have the same power as that whole.
Mm-hmm.
We're just not usually aware of it. And we don't, if we are aware of it, we're not using it. I think that's where we're going,
Mm-hmm.
where humanity is going, where all living beings are going. I have no idea why I went there. Down the rabbit hole.
I love it. I love it. It's just when we speak from the heart, it's amazing what comes out. But I guess my question, and maybe in some of our listeners, is with that perspective, how do we, trying to, in light of the world at the present moment, how do we look at that big picture? I'm a bigger picture type of person. I like to look at the step back, like a camera, step back, wide angle lens, and go, okay, let's look at this. Yes, there is I. Somebody said to me, "There's no I in team." That old saying. It's like, well, there's a lot of I's in this big team called humanity.
Yeah.
We're all I's, and we have to look after the I. But there's this step back and look at this collective. And is there a collective soul? Like what?
I think so. I absolutely think so. And I think that that's the collective soul is perhaps the source.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't spend a lot of time thinking about things that I can't really hang on to.
Yeah.
But I do think that I'm sure you and probably a lot of you listeners have heard that we are currently going through the dark night of the soul, the collective soul.
Mm-hmm.
I think that.
Yeah.
But I think more and more people and animals, with the help of the animals in particular,
Mm-hmm.
are realizing their own power, realizing that they have it, not necessarily knowing what to do with it, but knowing that it is intrinsic. And that's where they're being led. And there is no how to for that.
Yeah.
There is no manual.
Exactly.
We're kind of it's evolution. We're stepping into the unknown, and we're going to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
We're going to.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like I really believe F is for feedback, not for failure. And we will not fail.
Yeah.
Humanity, the animals, the earth, we will not fail.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
And then we change our course, hopefully.
Yeah.
Or we curl up and cry.
Yeah.
Well, that's not really effective.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting.
So
we've not gone down the rabbit hole yet at all. Thank you for sharing that which was in your heart. That's a lot to think about, a lot to consider. And from any another perspective to feel.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go down the rabbit hole now. So I called this, I love going down the proverbial rabbit hole. People that know me know that's, I like to research things and go down the rabbit hole and find different perspectives. And that's just who I am. I watched something the other day on Alice in Wonderland, because we know that's where Down the Rabbit Hole came from. And I watched some short video, well, I don't think it was that short, on sort of taking apart and the philosophical parts of Alice in Wonderland
Oh,
and
do you
what it
know I've
was.
never watched Alice in Wonderland?
You've not?
No,
Oh,
I,
watch the
I
video
know about
first, then watch it.
I know about parts of it, but I've never watched it because as a kid it scared me. I don't know
Oh,
why. I
interesting.
don't know why.
Yeah, I can see why. I think you're big enough now to.
Maybe I'll give it a try.
But this other bit was really, it was really interesting to watch it because it was, and listen to it because it was about the different characters in it and what they were teaching
Mm,
and what they represented. And, it wasn't just a children's story. And it really was written for, as this one told us, that it was written for a young girl who was talking to her about life and teaching her, but through a children's story, the different things in life and the different things and obstacles that you will meet, and
right.
control and power and transition and transformation and being yourself and time. And there's so much to it. So yeah, down the rabbit hole was just after watching this, I'm like, that's the perfect title for this. So I'll include that short video and
Oh, good.
people
Yes.
think of it. Anyhow, let's go down that hole and with our title. There is no how. And this came up in a conversation you and I had, and you said that. You said there is no how, and I went, "What?" And as life went on the next little while, there was things that I was considering, and there was things I was sort of mulling over in my brain and in my heart, and I would get that phrase would come to me, and it would be like, "No, remember Pat said there is no how. Like, put that there, and think about that." And it was a way of letting. It was a surrender.
Yeah.
It was a surrender for me to go. In this moment you don't have step by step by step by step what you need. There is no how. So
Yeah.
just sit there with it
Yeah.
and just surrender to it. And it was I can't even again, here we go, articulating
Yeah.
that which is so intrinsic, but it was this opening and allowing for that, like you said earlier, that which needs to come to me to
Yeah.
come to me.
I love that
And
allowing.
yeah, we need
Oh,
how for IKEA. Yeah,
sure.
we need
Yeah.
how to put, how to put. I'm sitting at an IKEA table right now, and even the instructions didn't work. Uh, really, there was no how.
Yeah. Yeah.
We figured it out, but it's beyond that. Those small steps. Even parenting, they always like there's no Bible, there's no instruction manual for parenting.
No.
Like it's some of it's just. So I will throw this back to you and just
Mhm.
let's take this and see where it goes.
Okay. There is no how. When I was thinking about this, of course, I started thinking about my life. And I started thinking about, as a kid, there was always a how. There was a proper way to do things. There was right and wrong. There was what everybody else said, expectations from parents, school, church, friends, everybody. And this is what good girls do. It was crazy. And that following those hows, their hows, is what took me to a dark place. As an adult, it was ridiculous. I had made all the right choices. I had I had done everything that everybody said I should do. And it turned out to be all wrong. It was not the right how for me. But ultimately, all those wrongs finally brought me back to myself. So I guess they were right in the long run. I think that we know if we can be quiet enough. And I did not know this when I was young. It took me, I don't know how many years. I was a hard sell. I was a hard sell. I just ignored everything that seemed to be pointing me in a different direction because that wasn't the right way.
Was there a moment? Was there something that defined that sort of started to flip the switch?
I think when, yeah, I think when I realized that I was going down a very dangerous path, dangerous for me, dangerous for my family, which I had at the time. And I realized that, oh, Lordy, I'm responsible. I am responsible for my children. I have to really do something different because this isn't working. And then I started thinking about all those, we talked about it in a previous thing, all those nudges. And I started listening and paying attention to those nudges. And they didn't seem like a whole lot of fun. They didn't seem like anything I would be interested in. But having said that, having come to the point that I was at, what I was doing wasn't working. Same stuff in, same stuff out. So I thought, well, give it a try. And I just went contrary to everything I knew. And that was, I threw the book out about everything. And I thought, okay, I am a baby. What do I know? What do I feel? And I started listening to my feelings. I started listening to those glitches and recognizing an untruth and recognizing that's your how-to. That didn't work for me. And recognizing that there is no general how-to. And that's when I mean, this is over a course of time. When I started thinking about all the people, there are so many people. I had to lose my judgment. I had to lose my ego. I had to stop telling people how they should live their lives so that my life would be much better. I had to make my life much better.
Yeah.
And I did, thank God. I did. Was there a moment? It was at the bottom of that dark well when the realization of the dawning, when I grew up and realized I am not alone and I am responsible. This life has been given to me for some reason. And of course, then it's a lifetime search for what's the reason. And of course, once you stop searching, it just comes, it just happens.
Yeah. Well, that's a surrender.
Oh my goodness, surrender. Yes, we do. We really make ourselves hurt.
Yeah.
And for me, looking back, I would have sworn to my dying breath that this was a load of garbage. But I can see now that I needed that pain. I needed it to push me out of what I knew. To realize that I had to find my own how-to that worked for me. And anybody looking from the outside more than likely thought, she is out of her mind. Why is she doing that? You know, she should be doing this. Well, that's exactly what I did. You should be doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Judgment is such a huge, huge thing when there is a paradigm of how to.
In the video I was talking about, there was one comment that really stuck out to me, was chaos disguised as routine.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
That one really just jumped it. And I think it often at the bottom of that dark place is chaos.
Yes, absolutely.
That we are unconscious of. And sometimes that is in the the monotonous day in, day out judgment, expectations, everything that you've said here, rights and wrongs. What do
Yeah.
good girls do? What do good boys like?
Yep.
Toxic masculinity, like it's
Yeah.
all there,
Oh, yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
disguised as this routine.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's when we either hit the bottom and start bouncing back up, or start putting shovels of dirt so we can climb back up to the top.
Yes. Yes.
Do we start
Crazy.
to see recognize that chaos,
Yeah.
recognize that routine, and start to go, no, this isn't
Yes.
this isn't the way.
And I found that for me, the perfect way to do that is to work on being and staying in the present moment.
Yeah.
There's what is right in front of me. You know, I've heard the expression, wake up, dress up, show up. And I kind of like that because I see that as a sequential thing. It's just you do this, then you do that, and then you do this, and whatever's the next step appears, and then you do that, and then you go on, and you're not spending a whole lot of time thinking, oh, if only I had done this, I should have done that, why did they do that, you know, why don't they do this? It's this ego thing, and it's, for me, staying in the present moment and recognizing real fast now when I'm sitting in judgment, or when I'm trying to change what is, because I don't like what is. Well, learn to like it, embrace it, find the value in it. Why is it in front of me? And that's taken a long time for me.
Yeah.
I'm a slow learner, obviously.
Yeah, and it's that staying in that present moment is tough.
Yeah, and how to for the present moment appears.
Yeah.
It just comes from within. It just wells up. If you're in that present moment, you're in touch with not just your higher self, but with a whole lot of different fractals. You know, you're dipping into that well of all, and becoming more and more aware of that brings more and more peace. And stop judging ourselves. We do that so often. We judge ourselves, which creates more chaos.
Oh, absolutely. But we live in a world that is, that's the wrong word to use. That is channeled. That is, we live in this world where, you know, I think of videos and the short videos that people make, and they're about everything and anything, and there is nothing you can't find an answer to, or like it's just, it takes us so external.
It does.
That, and I firmly believe that everything we need, we have within us.
Yeah, so do I.
And so how do we sit in that present moment, as you said, and find our answers and stop looking for other answers? And if we don't agree, stop judging other answers. How do I sit in that present, turn that all off, sit in that present moment and ask the question I need?
Yes.
Because I have the answer.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that it's only with practice, and it is a practice, that we come to realize that. It sounds like it's difficult to do. It's a discipline at the beginning, and then it becomes a joy.
Yeah.
Because it's all there. It's all there. So, I mean, for me, it is stay in this present moment and first do no harm.
Of course. Yeah. But it's that there is no how. It's a what's the word I'm looking for? Can't think of the word. Oxymoron, almost. It's like there is no how, but when I get quiet and still and present, There is a how.
Yes, yes,
You have to go to the one to go to
yes,
the other.
yes. But the how that comes from that place is a much gentler how. It's not a dogmatic, do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a, you may want to try this,
Yeah. Yeah.
basically. And if you don't, well, with this little voice will just get stronger and stronger. It did for me until you go, okay, I'll try it. And then you
It's
try it and go, oh,
oh, there it is.
this feels good.
It's the light switch.
Yes. Yes.
It's the light
Good
switch.
one.
Yeah. That was internal, just came out. But it's the light switch that turns on the light
Yeah.
where everything
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
present.
Yes.
Oh, God, we're good.
Oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
This sounds like a conversation that we'd have if we were sitting across the table from each other.
Yeah, have over a sandwich and
Yes. Yep.
and that's what I love about these
Yeah.
conversations.
Yes.
I'm not really sure what time we started, but
Neither am I.
I like to bring this around. Excuse me. I've asked each guest so far in the season, two, to share with us a practice. What's a practice that you do daily, weekly, monthly, however often it is? But can you
Uh,
share with us a practice that you
yeah,
do to, trim away?
absolutely. Very short and sweet. Um, I have a morning practice and an evening practice. The morning practice has changed over the years. The evening practice has not changed since the early 1990s and probably won't. Right now, my morning practice is to wake up. That's preferable. Yeah. And then I recite the 5 Reiki principles. And then I recite the other serenity prayer. And that sets my day. And what I find is that throughout the day, usually one or all of that comes back to me and becomes a tool that I use.
Mhm.
At night, my nightly practice is always, always, always around 11 o'clock at night. I will meditate. And I don't time it anymore. It usually goes from 20 to 45 minutes or so. I don't know. Sometimes if I've had a really busy day or if I have a headache or just not good, I will still plant my butt in the chair and I will do it for 5 or 10 minutes or however long I feel led to do it. But that's the discipline of it, is just get to the chair, sit there and go, yeah, this isn't going to do anything tonight. Okay, good night, everybody. And off to bed I go.
Yeah,
So those are my practices.
I love it. Wake up, dress up, show up.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, and I say it's the discipline of getting to the chair, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 45 minutes.
Yeah.
There's not it's your how.
Yes.
It's not somebody else's how that says you have to do this. It's not a recording that says you have to sit here for 20 minutes and do this
No,
or however many hours. It is your how.
it is. And yet when I started it, it was difficult. It was really difficult. It wasn't fun. I was getting, I thought, nothing out of it. Mind you, I wasn't putting much into it either. Then there's that. But I started out with the timer, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Oh, then I forgot to set the timer. Oh, I'll set the timer tonight. Oh, I forgot to set the timer. Oh, to heck with the timer. Let's just sit here and see what happens. Yeah, and how many years later? Good grief. I'm not counting.
That's a long time you've been doing it.
It is. It's saved me. It has saved me. I have found me.
And it's I go back to it's your practice.
Yes.
And for me, it's sharing that that's your practice. It's come from within. And how do we all find our practices?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not the same practice. If the
No.
same practice works, great, but
Yeah.
it's not it. The idea is finding something that keeps coming to me these days is finding your way, and your
Absolutely.
is the capital in capital.
Yeah.
It could
Yeah.
be finding or it could be way, but no, it's your. It's finding
Yeah.
your way in it and
Absolutely.
finding your how
Yeah.
and your why.
Yeah.
And it's there's so many gurus out there. I use that word
Oh, and
because it's it's a bit of an ancient word, but
yeah.
it's finding
Yeah. Your inner guru.
your inner. Oh, that's a good one. Nice one. Nice one. Yeah, it's finding we can and community is there to support each other.
Mm-hmm.
Community comes up a lot lately for me, and it's we're there to support, we're there to hold that space for each other. But a true community holds that space for finding your way.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's or your how. It's the community. A proper community doesn't do all those other things.
No.
Like you said, like the expectations and the judgment and the all that. That's not a true community.
No. No. And I mean, that's what, to me, that's what makes this so flippin' interesting, because there are so many different um, facets,
Mhm.
and they all have their own glow. They have their own sparkle.
Yes.
And yeah, sometimes it's got to be, it's got to be polished up a bit, but it's there.
Yeah.
It's there. And we can learn so much from each other, which is the point, I think.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. It's a collective. It's
Yeah.
we don't live in a bubble.
No, no, we don't.
But yet that part of us that we need to get in touch with is that individual part of us. So
It's,
it's that two sides of
yeah,
the same coin that we need the I on one side, we need the collective on the other, because they're both
yeah,
just and yeah, that's the animal world teaches us that
yes,
they look
yes.
after each other, but they look after themselves and they don't hold one of higher value than the other.
No, which is beautiful. It's beautiful to see.
It's not the individual or the collective is unequal. It's on an equal plane.
And, no ego. They don't have egos.
Yeah.
We do. Now, our
That's
egos can serve us. They can serve us on this physical plane, but they can also be very, I, I don't know another word other than harmful.
mhm.
I can't think of another word.
Yeah, yeah.
They can be harmful if it is the only thing that we are relying on is our ego.
Yes. Yeah.
Whoa. No, there's so much more to each and every one of us.
Yeah.
So much more. And it's so much
Absolutely.
fun learning about the people, the animals that come into my energy field.
Yes, absolutely. Well, when I start seeing myself in that way, I start inviting myself first to see others that same way,
Yes.
and I start inviting others to see me that way.
Yeah.
And in turn, they start to see themselves. So it's almost like
Yeah.
a four step
Yeah.
thing where
Yeah.
I invite myself to see myself that way, invites others to see me that way, invites them to see themselves that way. That's three. Okay. Uh, but
That's beautiful.
it's
It's beautiful. There's a reason we're all here at this
I
time
love that. Yeah.
in this place.
Yep.
And if we can stay present to whatever is right in front of us, we can usually find out, we can usually learn the
Mhm.
reason why.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now we're on to why. We got finished with how, and now that's another episode. Come back for that episode. We'll get to the how, the what, and the who. Oh my goodness. I love chatting with you.
I love chatting with you too.
My heart expands. I
Yeah.
think I know you're a person that offers this expansion to anybody you meet, and you offer this calm nature and this calm energy that others can only absorb. And
Thank you.
yeah, that's we need more of that.
Be
So,
still and know.
still in know. Yeah. Wake up, dress up, and show up. That's
Yes, yes. I can see you latching onto that because
I love that
so
one.
you. Boom, 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 boom.
Some mornings it's like just okay, wake up.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, do you have any final words? I think we're gonna close her there. I think we've been about an
I
hour.
do not. This has been wonderful. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
And thank you for being here with us today and going down the rabbit hole.
Thank you.
And with that, we emerge from today's rabbit hole with wisdom in our hearts and new perspectives shared. Thank you all for joining us in Circle at whatever moment in time you are listening to this. There are ways you can stay tuned and stay inspired. Join our Facebook group, aptly named Inspire Me Forward. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Lynda J Watson, Inspire Me Forward. Or find us on Apple, Spotify, or Buzzsprout. Please consider sharing this episode, or as we like to say, share it forward. You just never know who needs to hear the words shared here in this sacred circle. Remember, the courage it takes to share one story might be the very thing another human being needs to open their heart to a brighter future. So thank you again for being here. And if you ever feel called to join me for a soul conversation, I would absolutely love to hear from you. From my heart to yours, stay well, stay connected, and stay inspired.